I think that the thing that drives me is that I want to be able to think about the future and feel good about that. So that we're doing what we can to have the future be as good as possible, to be inspired by what is likely to happen, and to look forward to the next day.
And there need to be reasons to get up in the morning. Life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring and make life worth living.
When I was young, I didn't really know what I was going to do when I got older. People kept asking me, but then eventually I thought that the idea of inventing things would be really cool. And the reason I thought that was because I read a quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which said that a sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and that's really true. If you go back, say 300 years, the things that we take for granted today you'd be burned at the stake for. Being able to fly, that's crazy. Being able to see over long distances, being able to communicate, having effectively with the internet a group mind of sorts, and having access to all the world's information instantly from almost anywhere on the earth. This is stuff that really would be magic, or would be considered magic in times past. In fact, I think it actually goes beyond that, because there are many things that we take for granted today that weren't even imagined in times past. They weren't even in the realm of magic. So it actually goes beyond that. So I thought, well, if I can do some of those things, basically if I can advance technology, then that's like magic, and that would be really cool. And I always had sort of a slight existential crisis, because I was trying to figure out what does it all mean? Like, what's the purpose of things? And I came to the conclusion that if we can advance the knowledge of the world, if we can do things that expand the scope and scale of consciousness, then we're better able to ask the right questions and become more enlightened, and that's really the only way forward.
I mean, you don't always improve, but you can aspire to improve. You can aspire to be less wrong.
Yeah.
This is I think the tools of physics are very powerful. Just assume you're wrong and your goal is to be less wrong. I don't think you're if you succeed every day in being less wrong, but if you're going to succeed in being less wrong most of the time, you're doing great.
My interest in the future of humanity is, I guess, as a function of reading a lot of sci-fi and philosophy as a kid, and then just sort of thinking about, okay, what's important to do? Like, why do anything? What's the meaning of life? And I came to the conclusion that what we really need to do is make sure that life continues into the future, and particularly conscious life. And in doing so, we'll be better able to understand the nature of the universe and achieve greater enlightenment.
Don't just follow the trend. So you may have heard me say that it's good to think in terms of the physics approach of first principles, which is, rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if something really makes sense, or if it's just what everybody else is doing. It's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to think. And that framework was developed by physicists to figure out counterintuitive things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method. I do think in the United States especially, there's an overallocation of talent in finance and law. Basically, too many smart people go into finance and law. So this is both a compliment and a criticism. We should have, I think, fewer people doing law and fewer people doing finance and more people making stuff. And manufacturing used to be highly valued in the United States, and these days it's not. It's often looked down upon, which I think is wrong. Yes, somebody's got to do the real work.
Yeah.
Like making a car, it's an honest day's living, that's for sure. Or making anything really, or providing a valuable service, like providing, good entertainment, good information. These are all valuable things to do. So yeah, there should be more of it.
Going from PayPal, I thought, well, what are some of the other problems that are likely to most affect the future of humanity? It really wasn't from the perspective of what's the rank-ordered best way to make money, which is okay, but it was really what I think is going to most affect the future of humanity. So I think the biggest terrestrial problem we've got is sustainable energy, but the production and consumption of energy in a sustainable manner. If we don't solve that this century, we're in deep trouble. And then the other one being the extension of life beyond Earth to make life multiplanetary. That's the basis for. The latter is the basis for SpaceX, and the former is the basis for Tesla and Solar City.
Energy will happen no matter what. If there was no Tesla never existed, it would have to happen out of necessity. It's tautological. If you don't have sustainable energy, it means you have unsustainable energy. Eventually, you'll run out, and the laws of economics will drive civilization towards sustainable energy inevitably. The fundamental value of a company like Tesla is the degree to which it accelerates the advent of sustainable energy faster than it would otherwise occur. That's the underlying principle behind Tesla and SpaceX, is that I think it's pretty important that we accelerate the transition to sustainable generation and consumption of energy. It's inevitable, but it matters if it happens sooner or later. And then SpaceX is about helping make life multiplanetary, and doing what we can to continue the dream of Apollo, and ultimately make a contribution to life becoming multiplanetary.
Sure. I mean, there are lots of people that said that the likelihood of failure was extremely high, and that it was a stupid thing to do. And when I started SpaceX, one of my closest friends got a compilation of rocket failures and made me watch the whole thing. And there were lots of people that tried to talk me out of it. But the thing is, like, I already thought the probability of failure was high, and that with that the likelihood of success was therefore low, so this was not new information. I thought maybe SpaceX had, I don't know, 10 or 20% chance of success, and Tesla probably similar. I thought Solar City had a much higher chance of success, but probably still only, I don't know, 50% or something like that. I think the value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear. I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. That is not I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. If somebody is doing something that is useful to the rest of society, I think that's a good thing. Like, it doesn't have to change the world. Like, if you're doing something that has high value to people, and frankly, even if it's like just a little game, or some improvement in photo sharing or something, if it has a small amount of good for a large number of people, I think that's fine. Like, stuff doesn't need to be changed the world just to be good.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a future that is inspiring and appealing. I mean, I just think that there have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Like, why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? And if we're not out there, if the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that it's incredibly depressing if that's not the future that we're going to have.